Can y'all believe Amy Schumer was supposed to be the main Barbie? Oh yeah, the rumor was that she was supposed to portray the one ugly Barbie in Barbie Land. Now, personally, I wasn't interested in it. But years later when it was announced Margot Robbie will star as Barbie, and then you had this indie filmmaker Greta Gerwig would co-write and direct the film, my interest shot up. I can't be the only guy that saw the trailer for the first time 7 months ago and said to myself, oh, I have to see that movie. Now, in all seriousness, Barbie with the collective hype of Oppenheimer really made this the cinematic event of the year. I wasn't familiar with Greta's earlier films until I finally watched them recently, but after walking out of Barbie, she's definitely a filmmaker I want to keep my eye on, so let's get right into it. Starting off with the cast. Margot Robbie knocked it out as stereotypical Barbie. It almost felt like an inside joke because I've seen people on social media multiple times say Margot Robbie would be the perfect Barbie, and I have to say, I agree with them. Not only does she have the appearance of a typical Barbie, but her ability to play the role of a lifeless doll without it feeling robotic or cringy was great to see. Plus, how her comedy comes across more so as innocent than a fool is a balancing act only so many actors can pull off. And she does a great job portraying this doll that has this genuine fear and curiosity of life in the human world that you can't help but be engaged in. But you know what? Speaking of engaged, we gotta talk about my boy Ryan Gosling playing Ken. From The Notebook to La La Land, Blade Runner 2049, and now Barbie, Ryan keeps showing his diverse acting range, and to be honest, this movie is probably my favorite performance from Ryan. Every scene he's in just had me rolling in my theater. His adventure to the real world with Margot Robbie's, to this extreme interpretation of patriarchy when he was connecting the patriarchy to horses, it just had me crying tears in the theater with his performance. But honestly, it's not just the humor from his performance, but it was the quieter, more dramatic moments as well. For example, his speech to Margot Robbie's Barbie that the Kens and him didn't feel like Barbie Land was a place for them, and that when he finally went to a world filled with men in power, his newfound dignity and respect led him to crave more of that patriarchy and bring it to the other Kens as they were just tired of not having any say. I find it very interesting that even the film pointed out the lack of consideration of the Barbies, as Margot Robbie's Barbie even admitted they don't even know where the Kens sleep at night. So, not to get into that internet mess, but I don't believe the movie was trying to be anti-man or this woke feminist propaganda. If anything, it felt like an honest take on a universal tale on the expectations set on society. In the real world, men do have expectations set upon them when in society, both positive and negative expectations. The conversation regarding why is something I don't feel I need to dive deep into, but I believe the movie, at least for all the Kens, was actually portraying how men have roles they are told to fulfill, and going against the grain of fulfilling those roles can lead to you in this directionless, unknown path that society doesn't know how to help you with. Just like with women, the movie speaks on a reality that faces women in society. Usually, heavy-handedness is seen as a no-go for films, but I believe this was the movie to not shy away from talking about an issue that women feel needs to talk about. That's what leads to Margot Robbie's Barbie and Gloria, the mother of the film, who was trying to be perfect, not just for her daughter, but also the expectations from society, which led to Gloria's monologue about the never-ending balancing scale for women in society. That's what makes the Barbie movie so interesting. It's a movie about self-discovery, independence, and being comfortable being normal. Gloria isn't trying to be the most successful businesswoman in the world, not the most financially powerful, or even a career-driven woman. Gloria just wants to do what she wants, which is being a great mother to her daughter. That makes Gloria ordinary. But that's her point. This isn't even just for women, but for humans overall. Gloria's journey in this film is a reflection of how there are people in our society who are comfortable with living an average life. That doesn't make them lazy or underachievers or weak-minded. It means they don't need to reach for the mountaintop to seek happiness, and that's a part of the message from the movie. You can do anything you set your mind to, and it's alright if your purpose is something as just being a great parent. This movie also touches very heavily on the danger of lack of identity. We see Ken go extreme with patriarchy, and Robbie's Barbie by the end of the film still doesn't know what she wants. She knows she doesn't want Ken though, and I don't know about y'all, but that hurt my heart when she said that. But it was an important lesson for Ken to understand that just because Kens are designed strictly to be with Barbie doesn't mean you have to. Like Margot Robbie's Barbie said, it's Barbie and it's Ken. I really did enjoy the messages of the film, but even though I have a lot of positives about the film, there are some mixed and negative opinions I have from it that prevents it from being a perfect score. To be honest with y'all, I didn't really need Will Ferrell and his crew in the film. I love Will Ferrell, and he had some wild jokes I enjoyed, but they became an afterthought of the movie once Barbie went back to Barbie Land. I understand that if it wasn't for the company, then Barbie wouldn't have gone back to Barbie Land, but I believe the writers could have come up with any other reason for Barbie to go back. But I don't judge the film too hard with that because we got to see the ghost of Ruth, which was one of the creators of Barbie, appear in the film, so I guess that must have been a reason to keep them together. I still believe there was some type of way you could have wrote to where you didn't have to worry about Will Ferrell coming back in every 20 minutes as a reminder that he's still around. My other negative was that even though I appreciate the film creating great arcs and exploring themes of self-discovery, independence, womanhood, and society expectations, the film dragged on in the final 15 to 20 minutes due to having to wrap up so many plot points. I felt like there were a few scenes that could have been trimmed to make this a tighter ending. And my last issue really is, even though I appreciate the message of the film, I won't be shocked if some people aren't fond of the heavy-handed nature from this movie. I already saw people give this movie negative labels, and now to be fair, those particular people might have still complained no matter what, but audiences usually like their films to be subtle with their content. But me personally, I was nodding my head to a lot of points the movie was making. Overall, I give this movie a 3.5 out of 5 critic score and a 4.5 out of 5 audience score, totaling to a 8 out of 10 final score. This is definitely a film with teenage plus humor and a story about being who you choose to be. Even though it can be smashed over your head at times, I still believe it's worth watching in the theaters. That's all I have for y'all. This is the Source Plug. Now let me know down below your thoughts on the movie. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Was you in the middle? Did you disagree with some of my opinions or agree with it? How would you rank this Barbie movie? Especially, do you guys prefer Barbie than Oppenheimer or Oppenheimer than Barbie? Let me know and I'll catch y'all later, and I'm out.